Easter eggs are now commonplace in Hollywood movies, and they have been for quite some time. That means viewers should always be on the lookout for fun inclusions and references that have been put there by directors. Star Wars, as one of the most popular movie franchises of all time, is often referenced in other movies, and we're gonna list 10 examples in which that's the case.
My name is Darth Vader.
So, enjoy our video, subscribe to our channel, and keep checking back here at Screen Rant for more great videos in the same mold as this one.
Holy.
Here are 10 Star Wars Easter eggs in other movie franchises. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. At the end of 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, after Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor has ended up in the prison, you can see that the prison number on his jumpsuit is 16TK421. This is a clear reference to a line in the original Star Wars movie, when Luke and Han Solo are disguised as stormtroopers and an officer asks,
TK421, why aren't you at your post?
There was a friendly social media rivalry between Batman vs. Superman and The Force Awakens during the two movies' production period, so it's no surprise that this made it into the movie.
What are you doing with that? This!
Spaceballs. 1987's Spaceballs was one big parody of and nod to the original Star Wars trilogy. Characters like Captain Lone Star, Dark Helmet, and Barf were parodies of Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Chewbacca, for example. But there were some more subtle Star Wars Easter eggs in the movie too. A great example comes in the scene near the end of the movie when Lone Star and Barf are at the Space Diner. As the camera zooms up to the space dock, the Millennium Falcon can clearly be seen parked outside, amongst several other bizarre space vehicles. Indiana Jones. The Star Wars and Indiana Jones movie franchises are both teeming with Easter eggs referencing each other, but the most prominent and famous example in either of them undoubtedly comes in 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first installment in the Indiana Jones franchise. It can be seen after Harrison Ford's Indy lifts the lid off a sarcophagus and he turns around to look at a pillar behind him. The pillar is covered in hieroglyphics, and amongst them there are hieroglyphic versions of Star Wars characters C-3PO and R2-D2. E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. There are a couple of Easter eggs in each franchise linking E.T. to Star Wars. Members of E.T.'s species can be seen at the Galactic Senate in The Phantom Menace, for example. But the first and most memorable example appeared in E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. In the classic 1982 movie, when Elliot and Michael take E.T. out on Halloween, the titular alien sees people dressed up in a number of weird and wacky costumes. But when a small child dressed up like Yoda walks past him, E.T. is seen rushing toward him saying, "Home, home!" Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You're probably noticing that a few of the movies on this list are Steven Spielberg offerings. That's because him and George Lucas love to cross over with each other. One of the earliest examples comes from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The 1977 movie was released just a few months after the first Star Wars installment, and there's a major Star Wars Easter egg in it. When the mothership first crests over Devil's Tower, there's a blinding light aimed directly at the camera. Still, if you look closely enough, you'll see R2-D2 upside down, affixed to the underside of the ship. Doctor Who. Okay, we know Doctor Who isn't a movie franchise, but there have been a couple of feature films starring the Doctor, so we're more than happy to include this Easter egg in our list. In Face the Raven, the 10th episode of the 9th series of the modern run of the show, there's a strange-looking box in the background. Written on the box is a bizarre language, which actually turned out to be Arabesh, the standard language in the Star Wars universe. Moreover, fans of Star Wars have deciphered it, and it actually says DeLorean, making it a Back to the Future Easter egg as well.
Put the phone down.
Paul. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are quite famously big fans of the Star Wars movies, so it's no surprise that their 2001 movie Paul, a movie about an alien, is littered with Easter eggs that refer to the Star Wars franchise.
You psychotic nerd!
A number of pieces of dialogue are lifted straight from Star Wars movies, such as Graham saying, "I can't believe she's gone," referencing Luke Skywalker talking to Leia about Obi-Wan Kenobi's death, and Lorenzo saying,
"Boring conversation anyway,"
which is a Han Solo quote from when he was dressed as a stormtrooper, both of which come from the original 1977 movie. Star Trek. Star Wars and Star Trek are seen as two rival franchises, whose fan bases are always arguing over which one is the superior saga, which makes it all the more pleasing to see Star Trek movies giving a nod to the Star Wars franchise by a cool little Easter eggs. The Easter eggs in question occurred in both 2009 Star Trek and 2013 Star Trek Into Darkness. In both instances, Star Wars droid R2-D2 can be seen. It can be seen flying across the screen in the opening battle of Star Trek and being sucked into space 77 minutes into its sequel, Into Darkness.
You are welcome.
X-Men Apocalypse. 2016's X-Men Apocalypse contained a Star Wars Easter egg which, at first at least, just looked like something fun for eagle-eyed viewers to spot. It came just before Professor Xavier's school was destroyed in an explosion, when Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Kurt Wagner, and Jubilee sneak out to go to a mall. They are seen exiting a movie theater, and the now showing sign had the Return of the Jedi written on it. It was more important than you might think, as it confirms the otherwise unknown exact date of the movie's events, as being 1983.
Well, at least we can all agree the third one's always the worst.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, as a franchise, regularly repeats the same Easter egg as an homage to Star Wars. In recurring reference and tribute to 1980's The Empire Strikes Back, MCU characters regularly lose their hands or arms, just like Luke Skywalker did when Darth Vader severed it. Examples include Bucky Barnes following his fall in Captain America: The First Avenger, Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3, Thor in Thor: The Dark World, Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy, Ulysses Klaue in Avengers: Age of Ultron,
I'm sure that's gonna be okay.
and even Phil Coulson in the franchise's television spin-off, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That was good, wasn't it?
Thanks for watching our video about 10 Star Wars Easter eggs in other movie franchises. Did you enjoy the video? Can you think of any other movie franchises with Star Wars Easter eggs in them? Have your say in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more great videos like this one.